'Tis a great day to be grateful. For instance, you could have been born in the year... Wayne's World, dreamlike sequence, 1900. Let's picture for a second. Being born in this time versus being born in the year 1900. This is a lesson on being grateful. I'm going to kind of go through some dates and some things that happened back then that we tend to lose perspective on and forget how serious and what other people had to endure and go through. Meanwhile, we are living in our air-conditioned, cushy, not all of us, of course, but probably a lot of you watching this, really suffering, having to wear face masks out and having to stay home and watch Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, right? So things could be a lot worse, people. Let's go through some numbers, shall we, to kind of put things into perspective. If you were born in the year 1900, on your 14th birthday, World War I would have started. Now, that killed 22 million people, and it lasted approximately 4 years. So now you're 18 years old. That same year, the influenza, Spanish flu hits. Guess how many people that killed? Not 1 million, 2 million, not 10 million, not 30 million, 50 million people. And that's not even the worst of it we're gonna get into. When you turn 29, the stock market crashed. Oh, that was a fun one. That was a very long period, 10 years or so, where you couldn't even feed yourself, let alone your family. Somebody like me has got 2 kids. I can't even fathom not being able to take care of my family, just literally living day to day, trying to figure out where your next meal is coming from. Holy cow. Would that be a tough way to live, right? Okay, so then all this is going on. Then you hit 39, right? When the Great Depression's finally coming to an end. World War II, boom, whacks you right in the face. 6-year war kills 75 million people. And then when you turn 50, just a few years later, the Korean War hits, just to kind of give a 1-2 punch. And that kills 5 million people just when you thought you were out of the woods. And none of this is even taking into consideration the fact that 500,000 people are dying every single year from the year you were born from polio. They didn't come up with a polio vaccine until the year 1955. So the first 55 years of your life, you're just used to 500,000 people dying. You could have been one of them. Smallpox, even worse, actually killed, by the time you're 50, it's killed 300 million people. I mean, that's like an astronomically large number. To have to be in constant fear of that, along with all this other stuff going on, is unfathomable to me. 55 years old, you out of the woods yet? Not quite. The Vietnam War hits. That is a 20-year war, people. Can you imagine being in a war for 20 years? Not only that, you're constantly in fear all this time throughout all these wars. If you haven't been drafted, chances are the first one you got drafted, the next one of these wars you're getting drafted unless you were one of the few lucky ones. So you're in constant fear of getting drafted. Then you're going off. You're not picking Cheetos or Doritos when you're binge watching your favorite episode. You're literally going off, being shipped off to some distant land you didn't even know anything about, and are now using guns and fighting and killing people, which is messing up your brain. And post-traumatic stress syndrome is a real thing. My sister is a psychiatrist, and she deals with these people all the time. It's very tragic. Okay? These are just some of the things that these people went through being born in the year 1900. Here you are. Look at your life. Look at what's going on. Let's all put it in perspective. Let's go 10,000 foot view instead of just this, right? So you got to wear, this is a good analogy, you got to wear masks. Okay, so what? Look at all these other things you might have to have been doing had you been born in the year 1900. All these deaths, these wars, these constantly fear of being drafted, being killed, knowing where your next meal is going to come from. So mad respect for your grandparents, your great-grandparents. Put it all in perspective. One thing I like to remind people of every single morning, remind yourself of what you're grateful for. That helps to put it all in perspective. Every day after my mantra, I end it with saying, this is what I'm grateful for. It really helps to remind me to stop focusing on the little things and getting caught up in the BS that you see all over and people getting frustrated. Then you jump on the bandwagon. Yeah, we shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to do that. Let's just remember how fortunate we are. This has been your lesson for 5 Core Friday. See you next week.